Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for your interest in our Community Acceleration Project program. I've asked you all to put your name and your organization in the chat if you'd like to. We really appreciate your interest in this program. It's our fourth year of doing Community Acceleration Project, so we're excited to tell you a little bit more about it and tell you about the process. So for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with Leadership Council San Mateo County, we'll just give you a little bit of a background. First of all, I'm Karin Hardy, and I am a co-president and co-founder of Leadership Council San Mateo County. And we'll just spend a couple minutes. I'll introduce you to Leadership Council. We'll do an overview of the CAP program, and then we'll talk a little bit about the application. We'll leave some time for questions and then next steps. And again, thank you all for your flexibility today and apologies about the previous link. So this is our team. Some of you may know some of the members on our team. As I said, I'm a co-president and co-founder, and Margie Power is my co-president and co-founder along with me. And then we have Isabella Brown, who is our community relations manager, and Claire Moten, who is our immersion program manager. So if you join the Community Acceleration Project program, Claire will be your main point of contact. Thanks, Lynette, who just joined. Apologies for the problems with the link. Thanks for checking your email. So a little bit about Leadership Council, San Mateo County. We have a theory of change, and we were founded in 2020 with the theory that if we could empower leaders with county-wide cross-sector relationships and access to experts in their field, whether that's on civic topics or on leadership development, that we could really spark innovation and empower people to come up with creative solutions to solve some of our county's greatest challenges. So we formed Leadership Council San Mateo County to foster cross-sector collaboration, build the leadership pipeline, and to make leadership development, professional development accessible to more organizations. Usually professional development is something that's only available in large, well-resourced organizations, and we bring professional development to the nonprofit community, government community, and mid and small businesses as well. So that this is what Leadership Council does. We do this in two ways. We have our 10-month leadership immersion programs, which is what we're going to be talking about today, because that is where our Community Acceleration Project program lives, is in those 10-month leadership programs. And then we also do half-day leadership workshops, which is a separate offering called Lead Local. If any of you are interested in our half-day workshops, you can find out more on our website. So we, in our leadership immersion programs, we have two different programs that run parallel to each other. The first is our leadership core program, which is for senior leaders. That tends to be our nonprofit executive directors, our elected officials, C-suite executives, or people at the senior VP level within their business or business owners. And that tends to make up our core program. And then our emerging leaders program is really a wide range of experience. It can either be people who are new in their careers and have showed a real ability and promise to be strong leaders, to people who are mid-career who have demonstrated real leadership capabilities and are looking to take that next step in their career. So our Emerging Leaders program is a really wide range of folks. They're just not the most senior in their organization, but they can really run from anywhere from top to middle management down to sort of people who are newer to their career. And these are 10-month programs. They're focused around civic understanding. So we always focus on a different topic every month. We meet monthly, and there's a different topic. It could be education, workforce development, or the environment. And then we have leadership skills development that's taught by our expert coaching team. They've come to us from the private sector. They're all executive coaches, and they deliver our leadership skills curriculum. And then we have small group work that's part of the program, and that's where the community acceleration projects come in. For our senior leaders, they're more focused on their own organizations and their professional development, whereas our emerging leaders partner with our nonprofit, city, and government leaders. When we launched Leadership Council, we had we had a group of applicants. We only had the core program, and we had a group of applicants who were just these amazing young leaders who had really demonstrated incredible leadership skills already and potential. And we didn't want to lose them. So we asked them to work with us over the course of a year and develop a program that was for them, for emerging leaders. What would they like to see in the community? And what they came up with, and something that was really important to them, was being action oriented and really focused on doing a project in the community while they were in the program. And that was the birth of our community, of our leadership, of our community acceleration projects. So just to give you some idea about our leadership immersion programs, we measure everything we do at Leadership Council. So we do ask, we do an alumni survey. We also do an end of year survey to see how we are doing across our main goals, which is increasing civic understanding, expanding leadership skills, and building relationships. And just to give you an idea of those numbers, I think some of the most important numbers that we have is that 71% help them affect positive change in their organization or community. One of the numbers that's not on here is that we actually have 80% of our alumni say that they are actively collaborating with someone who they met in the program, or one of our speakers in the program. So they're actively pursuing those relationships. So we have some really good outcomes, and this is how CAP fits into all of it. So why CAP teams? San Mateo County, we believe, needs a thriving nonprofit sector and a thriving government sector. And we really want to have organizations that are responsive and representative of the communities in which they serve. A common challenge, as the nonprofit leaders in the room will recognize, is that limited time and resources to address persistent challenges and access to cross-sector resources. So the opportunity to be able to work with someone from the private sector, to have fresh eyes on a problem or a challenge, is really a huge benefit of this program. So if you're working with a CAP team, you're really working with a cross-sector team to help address a challenge of yours. So the community acceleration projects, what they do is they help advance a project. They can research, do some research for an organization to figure out potential pathways or solutions, and help provide strategic direction. They are a key component of our Emerging Leaders program, and we really look to these programs to help add capacity, pro bono capacity, to the organizations that are selected for the program. And as I mentioned, we're really bringing professionals who have joined our program, who have really a really unique skill set, and allow them to apply their skill sets and their knowledge to your program. The time commitment from our leads in the program is about 3 to 5 hours a month, working with your team and helping resource your team. This is just a quote from someone who came through the program. She's the director of the Ravenswood Early Childhood Collaborative, if you're familiar with that. And she was just talking about the fact that as a class participant, you get to choose the project you're working on. So we put together teams of 5 or 6 people that are cross-sector to work on your project, but they've chosen to work on your project. They choose a topic that they feel like they can bring a unique skill set to or have a unique interest in, so that you're really working with a highly motivated group of folks who are passionate about the. I'll just let one more person in. So the benefits to your organization, as we mentioned, it's that problem solving with cross-sector leaders from diverse backgrounds, and countywide. Our program is countywide, so we're drawing on people from North County, South County, our coastal communities, Central County, and the demographics of our program represent the demographics of San Mateo County. We are a very diverse program because we believe that those are the best problem-solving rooms, is to be in a room with people with different lived experiences, skill sets, and experience. We also, what you'll get as an organization is the opportunity to improve an essential project or program, develop a new service, maybe do some research on if you're looking to expand a service, working with your community to survey them and help decide maybe what direction a new program or service should take, or research the best practices on a topic. Perhaps you're looking we had an organization last year who they had a new executive director after replacing a founding executive director who'd been there for 30 plus years, and they really needed to revamp their HR practices, but they were looking for best practices in the nonprofit sector. So although we weren't making a handbook, we were able to go out and survey nonprofits and sort of see what were some of the best practices and things that could be offered to help motivate nonprofit staff, which in a lot of cases isn't going to be the pay. So speaking as a nonprofit person myself, those are the types of things that our teams can work on. It also expands your network of influential leaders. You'll have an opportunity to work with a whole new group of leaders who are probably outside your current network. So an opportunity, again, cross-sector, but meeting this new group of people who are going to be providing impact and you're going to be working with for over a 5-month period. And then building a strong relationship with potential future board members. That is a ongoing need of a lot of nonprofits, is to really sort of keep their board of directors, sort of keep it fresh, and really make sure you're bringing in new talent. And a lot of our CAP team members, more than 40% of our members continue to work with their organization after they finish their CAP project. So, and some of those have gone on to join boards. So, just to let you know, that's one other benefit of getting a CAP team. So who should apply? This resource is offered to people who are 501c3 or a 501c6. If you have a fiscal sponsor, so you have to have an active agreement with a fiscal sponsor. We do have a government agencies apply, or city within a department within a city, or a department within the county government, and also county boards and commissions. We have done projects for all members of the Board of Supervisors. We've done them for our county executive. We've done them for Daly City, South San Francisco, so for their economic development departments. So there's lots of variety in the projects. We've also done projects for Stanford and Caltrain. So the range is wide, and we have a really great group of people who we've worked with. To give you, I'll just stop there for a second and see, are there any questions with anything that I've mentioned so far about the benefits of the program or the program itself? And we're a small group, so feel free to take yourself off mute if you do have a question at this point. Okay, thank you. So the CAP project timeline, the applications are up now. They're on our website, and you'll see an apply button on our homepage. The applications are due on the 26th of September. We do review the applications. We will reach out and work with your organization if we feel like we want more information or we want to further help you define your project. We can do that. We also feel free to reach out to us if you have an idea of what your project is, but maybe you want some help thinking through it. So a lot of times a nonprofit will reach out and say, here's the challenge I'm having. I'm wondering if this is right for a CAP team, and we can talk through what that might look like in terms of the application. But we're definitely here to help and help you think through that. We will let you know the latest on October 9th, whether or not you've been selected. And then in October, we don't have the dates solidified yet, but we'll offer 2 orientation sessions, which are usually about an hour and a half, where you come on, we go more in depth on the program. We've been lucky enough to partner with McKinsey & Company, which is a global consulting firm, management consulting firm. And right now they're on board to do it again this year, but they also jump on that orientation call and sort of help you with really sort of beginning to refine your problem statement. On the 24th of November, we will be introducing you to your CAP team via email. You'll get an email from us outlining who's on your CAP team, the organizations that they work for, and all their emails, so that we introduce you all to each other, and then you get to see who you're working with. Again, we let our class participants choose the projects they want to work on. To date, we've been able to give most people their first choice and sometimes their second choice, but we haven't had to go to anyone's third choice yet. So you are working with a motivated group of folks who are really interested in your organization. We do have between the 1st of December and the 21st of January, we ask you as the project lead or whoever your project lead is to schedule an introductory phone call, a Zoom call or a Google Meet call, whatever you'd like, with your CAP team to introduce yourself, tell them a little bit more about your organization, meet them, find out about why they chose your program, but just do a little bit of table setting, and we'll give you some guidelines for that call, but it's just to sort of meet each other before you begin to kick off the project. Then the official project kickoff is in January. It's January 23rd. This is absolutely mandatory, as you can imagine. We have the whole afternoon. It does, I apologize, the times aren't in here, but it's from 1 o'clock until 3:30, I believe, 1 o'clock to 3:30. And that information is actually in the application. But this is where we kick off. We are lucky enough to have partners from McKinsey who come out and sit down and work with the project teams, and you really develop your plan for the next 5 months. So those 5 months are really concentrated amount of time, and you kick off that in January with a schedule of when you're going to meet, how you're going to work together, and what your expectations are for each other and for the work product that you'd like to see by the end of May. You are then going to be meeting with your team monthly. Again, that is mandatory. We really want to make sure that you are in contact with your team, and obviously they have responsibilities here too as well. But you'll be meeting with them monthly to check in, see how it's going, check work product, and make sure that you're getting what you are hoping for out of the project. Your final deliverables will need to be completed by the last work day in May, which is the 29th of May. And that is up to you to schedule with your team how you want to have that deliverable given to you. Usually it's in a presentation with the actual work materials being sent over email, etc. Sometimes it's in person. We've done projects for the Commission on the Status of Women, and they come and do a big presentation at the Commission. But it's really up to you how you'd like to receive that. Leadership sits in on those when possible, because we really like to see the final deliverables. And then program graduation. This is optional, but it's a really special event. It's a very quick graduation ceremony, but it's a really meaningful one. And for you to come and see the team that you've worked with graduate is something we'll invite you to do, and we would really welcome you at that on the 5th of June. In terms of your responsibilities as a CAP lead, so you are required to attend the CAP lead orientation session once you've been selected, and those dates will be in October. We do provide 2 separate dates, and those will be given to you when you get accepted into the program. And then we ask you to proactively work with your team to schedule meetings. So really making sure that you maybe set aside, a time that you are going to meet regularly, and that you protect that time on your calendar so that you're checking in with your team, because you will get into this process, you'll get out of this process what you put into it. So really, if you're if you're a high touch point with your team, that's where you really get the best product, and it's headed in the direction that you want it to be headed in. We ask you to connect your team to resources. So a lot of time your team, if you're asking them to research a topic, there are people in your network who they'll be getting that information from, and making sure that you're connecting them in a timely manner. So connecting them, introducing them by email, whatever is most appropriate, but really connecting them to the resources that they will need to complete their work, and then reviewing information and providing feedback. So if they send you, we are teaching leadership skills in the program at the same time that they're going through the CAP program. So they're learning things like demo meetings, like how to do really strong checkpoints with leadership to make sure that they're on the right track and they're producing what they're producing is meeting expectations expectations. So as they provide you information, making sure that you're getting back to them, reviewing that information. And then working with them to define the final work product. That might not be in the first month. You might have some time where they're doing some research or doing a little bit more digging, and then you get recommendations on maybe what the end result could be. And then you need to schedule the final presentation, and then, as I said, graduation is optional on the 5th. For the CAP team, their responsibilities are similar. They'll be attending the kickoff in January. It's part of their class. It's actually on their class day. They need to proactively work with the team lead, which is the person who's applying, to schedule those meetings, request the resources that they need in a timely manner, provide appropriate lead time, and provide work updates on a regular basis to make sure they're staying in touch with you, and seek help when needed. Sometimes they may be trying to connect with a resource that maybe they don't recognize the name that's reaching out to them, and they really need some help with touching base with someone, but making sure that you're really helping connect them. But they need to be continuously in touch with you to make sure that they're getting what they need, and to work with you to define that final work project and then schedule the presentation. The application questions, probably the most important question you'll be asked to answer is your problem statement. So what is going to be the focus of the CAP project, or the task, or the research focus? So you'll be looking at, okay, what is the problem you're trying to solve, and what would you like this team to dig into? And I'm going to give you some examples of problem statements in a second, but this is something that, again, we can help you refine if you are looking to get a CAP team and want help talking through your problem statement. We're happy to do that. We want to make sure that if you're going to invest the time in this, and our team is going to invest the time in it, that you're really getting what is going to be beneficial to your organization. And then you'll be asked questions like, what does success look like? If your organization is able to achieve the outcomes for this project, what does that look like for you? And how does it align with your organizational goals? Is this something new that you're starting? Is it something that is going to strengthen your dedication to your mission? So these are the questions that will be on here. And we do want you to make sure that whoever you define as your main contact, if it's not yourself, make sure they're fully bought in to the project, so that they're excited and ready to commit. And then also, how can you bring this work forward? So we want to make sure that you're thinking about already, when you get this work product, what's going to be your next step? How are you going to carry this work forward, and this opportunity forward? So developing your problem statement. As I said, this is probably going to be one of the more important things that you do. So we want it is a 5-month-long project. They used to be slightly longer, but we really looked at, we worked with McKinsey, and McKinsey's used to doing something called project sprints, and they really defined 5 months as the optimal amount of time to get focused, good results. So it is a 5-month-long program, so we want it to be practical and achievable. That's why they're not completely seeing through a project. They're not starting it, finishing it all within the 5 months, but they're maybe helping you kick it off, provide strategic parameters, like I said, research best practices, work with your community to gather research on something that you're trying to achieve, focusing on a specific problem. So you might want to, maybe you're focused on health outcomes for your community, but maybe make it more specific. So we worked with the Bay Area Health Council last year, and they wanted to improve health outcomes for a breast cancer screening program that they had. They were trying to figure out why more people weren't signing up for it and what the barriers were. So that was, yes, health outcomes was the big picture, but they were able to really narrow it down to a specific program, and allowed our team to do some digging and figure out where were the bottlenecks and where were their problems in visibility or access, and had some pretty astonishing outcomes. Your availability. So make sure that if you're choosing a project, you are available to help in this area, so that you can access the information, you can direct your team to the right places. Leveraging existing resources. So really want to make sure that if there's research you've already done or there's some information that you have that can really help kickstart this, that's really helpful. Tangible outcomes that we talked about, and then that after project plan. Where will this go next, and how will you use this? In our sample problem statement, you'll see we worked with El Concilio, which is El Concilio, San Mateo County. They wanted assistance in better defining a outreach program that they had for climate ambassadors, and then they had a process for incorporating those findings in that new curriculum and launching a new program. So thinking about how you're going to carry that forward. So along those lines, here's an example of a problem statement from El Concilio. So they had, again, we say a problem statement, but you're thinking of that question. So for El Concilio, it was how might we strengthen their climate justice and environmental justice curriculum to better serve the community. And they had a pilot program, and they really wanted to review the curriculum and see what was strong about it, what were maybe some of the weaknesses, how could they strengthen it and make it more effective, and get suggestions for improvement. So that our team was able to do that, suggest improvements. They were actually able to develop a whole new curriculum, which was they really went above and beyond. And then they were able to launch that new climate ambassador program. That the project ended in May, and they were able to launch a new program in September. So that's one example. Another example, we worked with the Stanford Haas Center for Public Service, and they were looking at, they had already identified that absenteeism was a problem for their students in East Palo Alto and Bellhaven, and it was really that first period, and they were experiencing real problems with the transportation. There was a bus that only ran, if you missed the one bus that got you to school on time, it was a real struggle. So this team dug into what were other local resources that could help get kids to school on time, and really looking at bike programs in the area, and researching other community programs that would help, and actually made suggestions to curriculum for Menlo Atherton High School that would also motivate students to get there, and really make sure that they made that first class. A last problem statement I'll give you is the REACH Coalition. It's a new nonprofit, and they were a new nonprofit that was formed and definitely on a shoestring, and they were looking at help with developing a communication strategy, defining goals for a communications plan, and then getting some frameworks and some ideas of what's a good communication strategy that they could then implement. So some frameworks, some tools. This group actually worked up a sample media campaign with messages and interviewing folks in the community to get some stories, to give them a sample media outreach program. So as I said, the next steps are the application is due September 26th. And I am going to stop recording, and I'll stop sharing, and then see if you all have any questions. Great. Is there any questions from the group?